Now moving through, it's kind of a messy radar, but when you switch it over to velocity, a much clearer picture of what we're dealing with here. Possibly 80-mile-an-hour wind gusts, very likely now crossing I-55 and as far north as Perryville. So Perryville, Old Appleton, Jackson, Cape, look out Scott City, look out Sykeston. All this is moving to the east. This is 60 to 80-mile-per-hour wind gusts. As far as the velocity, it's sampling a little bit higher in the sky. This is a lot higher in the sky, but you see the velocity is sampling at about 100 miles an hour, and this is coming in from the Paducah radar site. So the beam is getting higher and higher in the sky, bouncing off these thunderstorms and going back to the radar site, and it's telling the radar that there's a 100-mile-per-hour wind gust just a couple of thousand, just a few thousand feet high in the sky. And at the ground, that means we're dealing with 60 to 80-mile-an-hour wind gusts now moving through the downtown area, moving through Jackson, having passed through Oak Ridge, so the wind is really about to get bad. It's in Jackson, Oak Ridge, Old Appleton, Cape Girardeau. So look out, Carbondale, Dongola, Tams, Cairo. This is your first alert. As far as east as Mounds, Grand Tower, as far north as Chester, we're dealing with some intense, some powerful wind gusts moving to the east. These wind gusts are approaching 60 to 80 miles an hour. I'm checking the Weather Service right now. No updates right now, but the thunderstorms are now rolling right through a highly populated area, right through Jackson, Cape, Scott City, Advance. These thunderstorms, this is the wind product. We're expecting 60 to 80 mile an hour wind gusts as far back as Marble Hill and as far back as Advance and Fredericktown. We've had a lot of reports of damage coming in from Fredericktown. A lot of wind reports coming in from parts of southeast Missouri. A 3-foot diameter tree was uprooted just southwest of Fredericktown, Missouri, just about 10 to 15 minutes ago. Lots of shingles, siding damage. A small portion of a barn roof was removed. And all this is moving to the east. So this is the area we're watching right now. Jackson, Cape, Oak Ridge, Old Appleton, Perryville. Get ready for 60 to 80 mile an hour wind gusts. It could be higher than that. Could be higher than that. Okay, so I'm now getting word that we have a live shot on Broadway. Can we go to that real quick?
Yeah, we got that. Yeah, that's the gust front is yet to move through. It's getting close, and we're going to monitor this. Now, something else I noticed on the velocity data, it looks like the winds are accelerating a bit just to the west of Jackson. So I'm getting concerned that 80-mile-per-hour winds appear likely moving into the Jackson area. We're going to see a significant amount of power outages, I think, as this continues to move through. New severe thunderstorm warning has been basically a blanket severe thunderstorm warning. Everybody out ahead of this line of storms, you're going to go under a severe thunderstorm warning. We're going to see 60 to 80 mile per hour winds, possibly higher than that. But right now, as you can see looking downtown, the gust front has yet to get to us here at the studio, but it will be here very, very shortly. As you can see, the winds are not too terribly strong right now, but it will definitely be interesting to see what happens. Let's go to the radar again, Max 1. I'll let you guys monitor that. You can go ahead and maybe put the other tower cams behind me. We can do the 3-panel shot where we've got me in front of Max 1 and then a couple of sky cams behind me, or even that live shot behind me if you can, to where we can have like that 3-panel shot. But this is what I'm talking about. We've got, that is actually a little bit of what we call maybe the possibility of some range folding going on. And what does that mean? It means that the winds are being registered too strong for the radar to show right now. But you could see 97-mile-per-hour winds on Doppler radar right here moving down Kings Highway. So again, this is moving towards exit 99, where Kings Highway crosses Interstate 55, is where we're seeing the possibility of some very intense winds.
Hey, Grant, I know that you're going to want to know this. The severe thunderstorm warning that was extended into southern Illinois, the leading edge of these thunderstorms moving east at 90 miles an hour.
That's that Bo Echo punch. So 90 mile per hour. So we've got storms moving at 90 miles per hour. We have a rear inflow jet of 105 to 110 miles per hour. Some of this wind is going to get transported down to the surface. We may have a power flash here or so at the studio here shortly with this wind gust, but we've got a great generator system. We will stay on the air as this moves through, but you could see very intense winds. Just updated. I'm interested to know if this is range folding or if that's actually depicting. It looks like purple haze, so yeah, that's range folding in there. So that's not winds being registered over 100 miles per hour, but we are seeing lots of winds close to 80 to 90 miles per hour moving into the area right now, and this is into the northern parts of Cape Girardeau. It's moving through the Jackson area, and at least on radar, winds are up to 80 miles per hour, and this wind is moving very, very fast. So again, 90 miles per hour. Let's back this up, and we're going to kind of do a cell track on the edge of the Bow Echo, if you will, where the strong wind gust is. Moving across the Mississippi River almost right now.
We have a wind gust estimate from law enforcement in Perryville. They're estimating 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts in Perryville, and the worst is still to their west. The strongest winds are now moving into Perry County, as well as moving through downtown Cape very shortly. Again, 60-mile-an-hour wind gust estimated by law enforcement in Perryville, and it's looking like it's going to pick up very shortly.
And you see this is, I'm just tracking the apex of the bow that they tracked at 90 miles per hour. So if it really is moving at 90 miles per hour, which is extremely impressive, this Bow Echo will be moving out of the heartland in just a little over an hour, which would be great news if we could get it out that fast. But the bad news would be, if it's moving at 90 miles per hour, we're going to see an extreme amount of wind damage, which is something that we were concerned with, Brian.
Yeah, absolutely, Grant. This is what we've been talking about leading up for days. The moderate risk of severe weather. This is it. This is the event that we've been talking about, and it looks like we've got a lot of damage to pass along. We've got damage in Farmington, several trees down. We've got reports of, very strong wind gusts in Marble Hill as this thunderstorm rolled through. And most recently, we've had estimated wind gusts of 60 miles an hour by law enforcement as these thunderstorms are now beginning to move through Perryville. And again, it looks like the wind is going to pick up before it gets any better.
Yeah, just an extreme inflow jet right there. I'm wondering where the strongest winds will hit the surface. You can see we're looking at live cameras there on our front porch there with the flags blowing, and then in the back we've got the back parking lot of the studio, and we can see when the gust front moves through. This kind of gives us an idea of what's reaching the ground. And again, it could be sporadic. Many areas may not be seeing widespread 80-mile-per-hour winds, but radar is showing scary wind speeds. And that's why we are staying with this until radar shows that the wind speeds have died down significantly. And right now, that just does not seem to be the case as we continue. As I take on the wind here, and we can just see, here's the leading gust front, but the strongest winds are just right behind it. It just really accelerates, and we've got the possibility of seeing some very strong gusty winds that can do considerable amount of damage to trees and power lines, and even some structures if they are hit at the right angle with some very, very strong winds. Now let's back things out. We'll take a look at the entire heartland, and again, our main concern is this tremendous area of winds. But look, we've got more storms developing out to the west, so we may have to deal with some more rain that could cause some flash flooding. We already have flash flooding warnings out for Mississippi County, parts of Stoddard County and Wayne County. It looks like possibly Scott County as well. Severe thunderstorms moving out of western Kentucky. More severe thunderstorms moving in. And as I pan things out, I'm going to pan a little further to the west just to get an idea of what's headed, that could be headed our way later. These are giant supercell thunderstorms that are forming. Now, these will more than likely move east-southeast, but for you folks that missed out on this severe weather, our southern counties, you may get hit by this activity as we head towards the late evening hours. So again, the first alert action day was issued because we thought that we would have a significant threat to not only see severe weather, but to see damaging severe weather. And that seems to be the case right now as we continue to track this very strong Bow Echo that is moving through the heartland as we speak. So let's zoom into where the strongest winds are once again. At least on radar, they're punching right through central Cape Girardeau County right now. Very strong winds about to move into Union County. As we take a look at the winds, you can see right here, very strong indications of gusty winds up to 60 to 70 miles per hour. Looking at some of our cameras around the I can see behind us there, I'm still looking, I'm not seeing very strong winds, at least here at the studio. Of course, we're located right about here. The strongest winds are still depicted to be just to our west. Boy, that is a turquoise blue sky behind us as well. It could be the indication of some hail that is in that storm that is headed our way. Brian, any other words you got there? I know you're still tracking this as well, getting some reports from.
Yes, we have a late report coming in from Carter County, Missouri. Folks there were reporting. Let me see here. Going through a power out at the Carter County Sheriff's Department. We had very strong wind gusts move through the Van Buren, Missouri area at 5:05. This is an area that's been just hit so hard with the flooding here recently in Van Buren. Now they're dealing with several trees down. Power is out to several homes and businesses. The power is also out of the Carter County Sheriff's Department. This was the line of storms that passed through earlier around 5:05, right around the top of the hour. And these have continued just to race eastward. I know you've heard us mention this, but this line of thunderstorms moving east at 90 miles an hour. 90 miles an hour. I don't believe that I've ever covered thunderstorms with that fast a movement. So this is how unique this system is. So we're dealing with some extensive tree damage as far north as Farmington. Power outages reported there. Very strong wind reported in Perryville, like excess of 60 miles an hour. We had the very strong wind now moving through Cape all the way down into the parts of southern Illinois. So look out Carbondale. Look out Chester, DuQuoin, Heron, all these areas under severe thunderstorm warning until at least 6:15. These thunderstorms are racing eastward, and as Grant talked about just a moment ago, we have more showers and storms developing to our west. Now, they won't be as strong as this, but we're going to continue to see after these thunderstorms race east in the next couple of hours, we're dealing with a threat of flash flooding. So if you know anyone who's camping, planning on kayaking tonight or tomorrow, I would consider a change of plans. We're dealing with some very torrential rainfall, and as well, we're dealing with very strong wind on these thunderstorms, in excess of 60 to 80 miles an hour. We can see clear indications of 60 to 80 mile an hour wind gusts right there in the center part of Cape to Perry County, Bollinger County. This is all going to be pushing eastward. We can see a little bit of a wind gust there approaching Jackson and Union County, all the way down to Alexander County from Tams to Anna, all the way northward toward the Grand Tower area. This is all going to continue pushing east at 90 miles an hour. 90 miles an hour is a forward motion of these thunderstorms. In a blink of an eye, these storms rolled right through Cape, but the wind is still howling. The wind is still very strong. You can see our sky cams on the east side, or the right side of the screen. With the top camera there is Poplar Bluff. You see raindrops on the camera lens. Our camera lens there at the bottom is right behind the station. That's right here at downtown Cape. Very strong wind gusts passing through Cape County, now moving into Jackson, Union, Alexander, Pulaski County. A severe thunderstorm warning in effect until 6:15. We're dealing with torrential rainfall. Chances are some large hail along Highway 60 from Poplar Bluff, Dexter to Sykeston, around the Morley area. We're going to be dealing with some flash flooding as the storms are kind of parallel to the mean flow of the winds aloft. So we're going to continue to see these showers of thunderstorms train. So we're also dealing with a flash flood warning. So again, as far as history of these thunderstorms, as far as power outages and damage, we have Van Buren, Missouri, reporting a lot of damage. The Carter County Sheriff's Office Department without power. Several trees blown down in town. Power outages, several homes and businesses. The same story for Greenville, Missouri. Power is out, phones, trees down. Fire department are taking out, oh my goodness, latest report here coming in from emergency management. In Greenville, Missouri, the fire department is going 2 miles south on Highway D. There is a tree on a car near Highway 67 and Highway D. Again, Greenville, Missouri, dealing with some very bad damage right now, and that story has been repeated all as far north as Farmington, Missouri. Power outages, trees down, some very strong wind from Cape to Perryville to Jackson, all the way down to the Dexter and Scott City area, as well as Sykes. And so Grant will continue to watch this very closely behind the scenes. It looks like the wind is just strengthening at this time.
Yeah, it looks like, from my vantage point looking at what we have here at the station, it looks like the strongest winds continue to stay to the north of a good bit of Cape Girardeau, which will be some great news. Now, the gust front is located right, you kind of see where it is right here. We're seeing the gust front moving into Alexander County and into Union County. This is the rear inflow jet. Now, hopefully, there is some indication that some of this wind is not making its way all the way down to the ground, that we're not seeing the 100-mile-per-hour wind gusts, because as this moved through, at least our vantage point here at the studio, we did not see that type of strong wind. And you can see the gust front is well east of us now. The Weather Service has reissued the severe thunderstorm warning for 60-mile-per-hour winds and hail up to the size of quarters. And you can see we have a very intense line of storms right here. But the line as it moved through our area, at least here at the studio, I didn't witness on the camera any winds that look like they would be up to 60 to 70 miles per hour, but we still see a lot of reports of damage. So at some point, these winds have reached the surface. But there's a little kink in the line that we need to be a little concerned with as well, near the Union County line with Union County and Alexander County. So let's get in there and we'll scope that and see what it looks like. Because we see the possibility of a little spin up sometimes with this kink. You can see right here, that is just to the south of the Anna area, where we're seeing the possibility of that little kink in the line right there. The strongest winds are headed towards Tams right now, up towards Anna, Jonesboro. We already talked about lots of power outages that you saw earlier, and now we're seeing the possibility of more power outages as this strong line of storms continues to move through the heartland. We're now into southern Illinois with the strongest activity. The strongest indication of winds are probably going to transfer themselves across Alexander County and eventually move across Pulaski County and down towards the Paducah area if this holds together. And I think it will hold together. Very strong indications of strong gusty winds. You can easily make out that bow echo. This is the inflow jet, but it looks like right now the winds we're seeing over Interstate 55 are remaining aloft, not reaching the ground right now. Most of the damage has occurred with the gust front itself, and that is when you get some of these winds transferred down to the ground. And right now, when I zoom into the gust front, we are not seeing what we were seeing earlier right along the gust front, where winds were looking like they could be as high as 80 miles per hour to 90 miles per hour. But we are seeing very strong gusty winds right here moving towards Tams. This is the gust front right here. And this is going to probably we're going to see this type of wind hitting the ground in Alexander County. So near hurricane force winds moving across the area right now in Alexander County and in parts of Union County as well. So as we expand things out and take a look at the entire heartland, again, numerous severe thunderstorm warnings. We're under a severe thunderstorm watch until midnight due to the fact that we think we're going to see lots of high wind events. And look at this up near Rolla. We have more storms developing that are now severe, and we'll have to watch that for later on this evening as well. So this is going to be a long night the way it looks right now, but our main concern is this bow echo that is moving across southern Illinois and parts of southeast Missouri and moving into western Kentucky. So let's take a look at this. We're going to zoom into the storm and track it with First Alert Doppler Network to show you where the most dangerous part of the storm is at this time as we continue to track it off to the east, southeast. And again, they were tracking it at 90 miles per hour. The whole system is not moving at 90, but it's the apex of the bow, this part right here, that was really just moving extremely fast at 90 miles per hour at one point. And that's when we were really concerned with the strong gusty winds. And we're still seeing strong gusty winds. You can see that update live right there on the air. That's the gust front moving out of Alexander County, about to move into parts of Pulaski County and parts of southern Union County. And as we kind of follow this off to the south, you can see we're not seeing quite as strong winds towards the Sykeston and Dexter area, at least on radar, as we were earlier. We can look in here as well to see if we're seeing the possibility of strong hail signatures. And we do have some strong hail signatures near Sykeston. We've got another strong hail signature in Scott County right there as it's moving to the south of the airport in Scott City. Strong indication of seeing some hail. So hail and high winds right now appear to be the main threat with this line of storms as it continues to move off to the east. We're going to track it. I'm going to track the overall movement at about 55 miles per hour because that's the average. I don't want to track that apex of the bow that was just bowing out real